Yippee! Dim the lights, grab some popcorn, get comfortable because there are humorous horror hijinks afoot, and we must discuss.
It's pretty safe to assume that most horror movies are out to scare you but not make you laugh. But then again, there's also a lot of horror movies that, they just can't help themselves.
Groovy.
I mean, the laughs can come from just about anywhere, like an out-of-place line delivery.
What? No!
Or shaky plot points and character decisions that honestly just serve to add to the body count in hilarious ways.
Are you okay?
Oh, he'll be perfectly fine. Just rub some dirt in it and he'll be right as rain by morning. Any number of these things can happen in your typical horror movies. Hell, you're so bad they're good horror movies. Don't forget your spoofs and your horror comedies. And who can forget the Nicolas Cage fever dreams? Those are the best. Whether intentional or not, if they're done correctly, they can lead to some unforgettable experiences. Hell, humor, intentional or not, can even be a lifeline for a pretty mediocre horror movie to be able to become relevant again. I mean, who doesn't enjoy popping in a bad horror movie and poking fun at it with friends the entire time? The laughs will show up and good times will be had, and honestly, the same thing can be said about gaming, most of the time. Where with horror movies, you might be willing to give it a little more rope to add to a lifeline. If a horror game is not scary or has an engaging plot, then laws be damned, you're going to end up cutting the lifeline and moving on to something on your backlog. Sending a possibly good horror comedy back to the Steam library wastelands, incomplete, never to be heard from or seen again. And I get it, most normal people are purchasing horror games for something that will terrify them, not something that's going to make them laugh. 90% of the time, I'm on board with that mentality. The other 10% of the time, I have no issue reaching for games like Clock Tower 3. Really been looking forward to recapping and reviewing this gem for that PS2 era. If the original Resident Evil games were the standard for B-horror movies being brought to video games and done right, Joseph! Then Clock Tower 3 should at least be in the running for bringing over-the-top horror movies or miniseries into the gaming space. And yes, I get that other games probably did it beforehand, and trust me, I would love to get to those games later, but Clock Tower 3 nailed this genre for me. I mean, honestly, there's so much here to enjoy. The campy writing, the bad line delivery, the random gameplay moments, the anime vibes from left field out of nowhere. All this and more is held together by a time-traveling hot mess of a horror tale that really you have to experience. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. It definitely falls into that Nicolas Cage fever dream area, but it was an enjoyable experience. One I'm looking forward to recapping and reviewing with you guys today in our Den of Frights. I've been a horror game collector for many years, but unfortunately at a time in my life when I really needed the money, I had to sell this particular piece of my collection. I don't really remember the reason why I had to sell it, but I do remember the disappointment I felt when I returned to the comic book shop to repurchase it and found it had already been sold. But no worries, good people. If it's part of my collection once, it'll be part of my collection again. But until then, I'm Brodery, and this is Clock Tower 3. So our story opens up in one of the most exciting places on the planet, boarding school. Yeah, I know we're off to a rough start, but we're going to get to a better place. Here's where we find Alyssa reading a rather apologetic letter she had received from her mother, Nancy. She was under strict instructions not to return home for 6 years after her grandfather disappeared 3 years ago. The letter was also sent to address Alyssa's upcoming 15th birthday. Nancy was worried that Alyssa might be in more danger than ever and requested that she goes into hiding until after her 15th birthday. And being the good Christian girl that she is, I have no doubt that she's going to honor thy mother's wishes and go into hiding and stay as far away as possible.
Oh, come on!
It's going to be one of those protagonists I see. So apparently Nancy had called Alyssa and was put on hold, but when Alyssa picked up the phone, Nancy didn't reply back to her, which caused her to freak the F out and decide that, hey, I'm going to go home 3 years early, despite the fact that my mother told me to go into hiding, because you know what? There's something wrong and I'm the one to fix this problem. You are going to die. I mean, did you even stop to think that possibly this might be a trap? I mean, how do you even know it was your mother who called? All you should have heard when you got to that phone that was clearly hung up was,
if you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again.
Or whatever the British equivalent would have been. I kid, obviously the operator held the line, but when you pick up a phone after receiving a letter like that and they don't answer back to you, then maybe it should cross your mind that they got them and you don't want whoever got them to get you. But even if Nancy wanted you to come to her rescue, that's pretty selfish. Whoever's got her has already got her. She should want you to get away. But the horror and game logic is too powerful, and Alyssa decides she's going to head up the investigation of what happened to her mother herself. Alyssa does return home to her family's little big-ass mansion full of secrets, apparently. A family home that was clearly inspired by George Trevor's work of Trevor and Chamberlain. Yes, Trevor's work is simply to die for. They design all the best houses. The place is massive, clearly proving that Alyssa must come from old money. Alyssa attempted to call out to her mother, but received no response in return. Despite the place seeming empty and cold, Alyssa let her guard down enough to lead us to our very first scare of the game. The wind opened the door, spooky.
Please, do as I tell you and hide as quickly as you can.
Bet you wish you took that advice from your mother in the first place, don't ya? You now may have stumbled onto that notorious horror movie suspect in the act, aka The Wind.
Curse you!
Wind?
You will rue this day!
Preach, brother!
Behold!
Alyssa, a 90-pound if you left her out in the rain schoolgirl from jolly old England, is here to bring you to justice. Just not today, apparently, because Alyssa rounds the corner not to find a Wind, but instead finds a guy dressed like he's set up for an exorcism. Claiming to be one of the lodgers, he has some bad news for Alyssa.
Do you know where my mother is?
Your mother has gone out. That was early yesterday morning.
Huh?
She mentioned that she would not be coming back for some time.
What?
She was wrong. She won't be coming back at all. So it's just you. You are all alone in this world now, little girl.
Keep it light. No, I'm just saying.
And he rushes the poor girl. Alyssa manages to break free and ends up having to just stand there helplessly as she watches the creepy lodger laugh and head upstairs. Confused, Alyssa begins her search of the house to figure out what happened to her mother. During her search, Alyssa kept coming across these doors with strange blue sigils that were blocking her path. And although we don't like locked doors around here, Alyssa decides after a bit of trial and error that it's best not to try and force it for now. Instead, opting to change out of her stuffy school uniform so she could be more comfortable when she continues her search in style. Not too long after the wardrobe change, she stumbles across a hidden path within the fireplace. The hidden path led to a narrow passageway with a statue crying tears of blood before suffering a full-on
Decapitation!
Fuck this.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way Alyssa's about ready to get blood on her club gear, so she heads back to change back into her school uniform. Much better. Upon her return, she finds a secret bottle and a letter from Nancy hidden within the rubble remains of the head. Most people might find that an odd place to keep important stuff, but not this guy. I too have been known from time to time to hire people of talent to carve intricate statues to hide my items in. One can never be too safe. Speaking of which,
Yippee good buddy, I changed the passcode on the safe like you asked me to. Made sure I used a randomizer too to do the code, had my mind wiped shortly after hiding the code inside a statue, because that's just logic.
only person that needs access to that code is Yappy, and if anybody can figure out which one of those statues is fake amongst all the priceless ones,
It's him.
But back to the business at hand. Nancy had filled the sacred bottle of holy water to help aid Alyssa and protect her in her journey. Nancy never wanted any of this for her daughter, but she wanted to make sure she had a way of protecting herself if shit ever hit the fan. Nancy wanted her daughter to know that she could use the holy water to fend off spirits and also to break sigils that might block her path. So with her holy in hand, Alyssa returns to the door and Splish Splash gives the sigil a bath, destroying the sigil, allowing her to pass and reach the hall leading to her mom's room. Unfortunately, there seems to be no sign of Nancy as Alyssa pokes around her mother's frankly massive bedroom. Yeah, be careful if I were you, Alyssa. Archer taught us that you really shouldn't be going through your mother's stuff.
Oh my god.
Like a jackhammer.
Yeah, it's pretty big. There's not enough liquor and therapy in the world to undo that.
Traumatizing with a capital T. Luckily for Alyssa, the only thing she stumbles across is a really old book hidden in her mother's bed. One that contains an illustration of the creepy lodger she had met before. This just adds to the long list of unanswered questions Alyssa must be thinking of now, but she wouldn't have any time to get those questions answered because the room began to fill with piano music.
Who's playing that? Where's the sound coming from?
Well, it's nice to know that Alyssa doesn't crack her any pressure or anything. Nerves of steel, that one. But after realizing the music wasn't coming from that sweet bedside boombox, Alyssa rushes out to see where the music was coming from, unaware that she would stumble into a bright light that would lead her to an unfamiliar hallway. Somehow, without explanation, Alyssa now found herself outside in the middle of the night. Unfortunately, there'll be no strolling in the moonlight for you, young lady. Somebody close by must have got a kill streak because bombs rained down from high above on top of the poor girl. Sirens rang out as Alyssa began to show off her impressive Souls-like skills, but it would all prove to be too much for her as she takes cover by a double-decker bus. Unfortunately, all Alyssa could do was watch as bombs rain down on London from high above.
Fuck me. Fuck me sideways.
But she must have become over-encumbered at some point in time because she narrowly avoids becoming an Alyssa
Sandwich.
by fat rolling down a nearby staircase, avoiding the double-decker bus crushing her as it falls over on its side. This is when she began to hear the same piano music from before playing in the distance. Investigating the piano music takes top priority. Forget finding out how you managed to time travel and now find yourself in the middle of the Blitz. There were some impressive and elegant piano skills being displayed somewhere and we were going to find it. But not before stumbling across a blood trail leading to a dead body. Not nearly as gruesome a death as the one we stumbled across at Camp Sunshine, but yeah, they definitely still had a bad night.
That's disgusting.
After investigating the empty ring box by the dead body, Alyssa began to hear the phone booth behind her creak open slowly. There was so much tension in the air, it grabbed and held her attention, preventing her from realizing
It's a trap!
it would appear that the ghost of Asari's past intends on hurting Alyssa. Oh, you're adorable. As you're about to find out, Alyssa ain't no punk. She backhands the ghost with some holy water and walks off like a G. Who runs these streets? Alyssa runs these streets. Or so she thought, until she got hit with that
Shall not pass!
sending her fleeing back to the phone booth to take cover. Alyssa may have chose violence before, but peace seems like the better option at the moment. Realizing this is where the dead body must have come from before they died out on the streets, there might actually be something in the box that might help the spirit find peace. And after a real quick search, she manages to find an engagement ring just sitting there right by the phone. She offers it up to the ghost, allowing it some closure and the ability to move on from this mortal plane. Yeah, too bad I got a bad feeling that won't be the last ghost we run into tonight. Alyssa had a pretty good idea where she needed to go, so after dealing with another sigil, she heads downstairs and finds a couple surprises waiting for her down by the river. A piece of candy in the shape of a gold fountain pen and a new ghost friend that chases Alyssa around for a bit. But no worries, she returns the fountain pen to a nearby murder scene, sending the ghost on their way to the afterlife. 2 for 2 on your first night out on the town, Alyssa. Way to be an overachiever. I'm so proud. But it would appear like the weather outside is about to get a bit frightful and you're not exactly dressed for the cold, so maybe we should prioritize finding somewhere warm? And we all know the best way to do that is a good old-fashioned B&E. Breaking in her sigil, she steps into a local tailor shop to have a look around a bit. The place was empty and definitely has seen better days, but despite all that, Alyssa decides to have a look around to see what she can find out about the place. This is when she stumbled across a letter not from a tailor, but from a soldier to his daughter. He seemed like a kind soul, definitely too kind for war, as he wrote about France and how much he would love to bring his daughter there one day. Also writing about how things in London are not going so good, leading him to worry about his daughter in the process. It was a touching letter from a father to a daughter, but Alyssa leaves it there and heads upstairs to have a look around a bit after breaking a sigil. After discovering a warm fire, she picks up a key next to a picture of the owner of the tailor shop. Judging by that uniform, both the tailor and the soldier are the same person. But with the red drawer key in hand, Alyssa's curiosity gets the better of her and she begins her search to see what it holds. That is when she can find the damn thing. She searches high and low with such intensity that she doesn't even realize that trouble may be afoot. And while poking around the Norton family's shop, she stumbles across an article of a tragedy that happened on Christmas Day. Sadly, Mae Norton, 12-year-old pianist, was bludgeoned to death on Christmas Day by a blunt object. This tragically happened while her father, William Norton, was away at war, leaving her in the care of her nanny. Who could have done that to a poor girl, Alyssa might have thought, before suddenly being startled by a scream coming from upstairs. After ending the poor girl's life that Alyssa heard scream, he focused on Alyssa and the chase began with his massive mace in hand? Didn't he have a hammer before? Well, I guess all things considering, it really doesn't matter what weapon he intends on brutally murdering Alyssa with as he chases her through the back rooms. The chase was intense, but Alyssa managed to give him the slip by hiding in the dressing rooms on the shop floor until the coast was clear. After cautiously making her way back to the drawer so she can investigate, she finds Mae's room key inside. So Alyssa heads back upstairs to have a poke around yet another person's bedroom without their permission because, you know what, boundaries just don't seem to apply to her apparently. A point made even more relevant when she decides to read Mae's diary. No time to respect the personal space of the dead. Alyssa needs answers and she will have them. After flipping past the frustrated thoughts of a teen girl, Alyssa finds out that there's nothing more to Mae wanted than to make her father proud. Practicing every day to perfect her skills. Yes, indeed, it was a touching read, but it didn't give Alyssa the answers she needed. Answers that just might be found at the concert hall, the invitation that she found in Mae's room. And I'm sure there'll be zero repercussions for you helping yourself to a dead girl's invitation. Oh, looky there, Karma's knocking away at Mae's bedroom door. Turns out entering a small room with only one way in and out while murderers lurking about is a bad idea. But unfortunately for him, Alyssa had a few tricks up her sleeves and she was ready for them. It was quite boring at that boarding school Alyssa attended. So boring that she might have even dreamt of a life of excitement. Maybe a life in the ring. Possibly taking some time to acquire some skills that she could use in the opportune moment. Like now.
Sledgehammer enters. Watch out, she's got a chair. She throws it, he swats it away, and it's a spear out of nowhere. My God, he got broken in half.
And now that the big guy is incapacitated, Alyssa does the smart thing, gets the hell out of there, wasting no time making her way to the music hall.
Coming through, everybody. Coming through. Can an actual ticket holder get through, please? Can a real ticket holder come in, please? I'm getting harassed out here.
Suddenly, the concert hall doors swung open as if to invite Alyssa inside. But I hope Alyssa wasn't planning on leaving anytime soon because as soon as she walks inside, the door shuts behind her, locking her inside the concert hall. But she knew this is where she needed to be, so she continued her search. Alyssa cautiously approaches the stage in the main hall, finding nothing but a bloody piano and no one else in sight. And I gotta say, you're acting pretty calm considering you just found a piano covered in blood, Alyssa. Oh, my bad. As soon as the music began to play, your nerves of steel were put on full display once again. Our heroine, ladies and gentlemen, give her a round of applause. Alyssa discovers that it was in fact the ghost of May who was playing the piano all along, with tears in eye, forever trying to perfect her talent to make Daddy proud even in death. But too bad you won't have time to enjoy the concert for one, Alyssa, because the maniac comes jumping down and he's ready for the rematch. May dips out of there, leaving Alyssa alone to be chased around the piano by the guy with the hammer. But don't worry, Mace fans, as soon as the cutscene ends, he hits right on the D-pad and switches over to it. Luckily for her, he runs slow and awkward, like he just took a fresh deuce in his pants, giving her plenty of time to reach the lever behind the stage. This releases a dead body, giving Alyssa the key she needs to solve a combination for a locker out in the lobby. Big money, big money, big money, big money, and it's just another key. The master key, to be precise. With this key now in hand, no door in this place would stop Alyssa from pursuing her investigation. But the maniac might, so we best be careful as we have a look around for a bit. After making her way upstairs, she begins looting suit jackets looking for supplies when she comes across a box of matches. Those might come in handy, so she immediately pockets the matches and begins to make her way out when she's immediately cornered by the upset maniac. Murder and mayhem are one thing, but petty theft of matches from an abandoned coat? No, that's not gonna fly. You's gots to die. But what he didn't realize is that the now cornered Alyssa ain't having it, hitting him with the tactic.
I do what I want.
By hammer tossing a violin case into a stack of suitcases, causing them to come tumbling down on the maniac, allowing Alyssa a chance to escape. And after using the matches to light the way, Alyssa walks the plank to reach a platform and a pair of pliers that are dangling high above the stage. Luckily, she knew exactly where to use these, so she recrossed the plank, headed downstairs, used the master key to exit the hall, headed back to Norton's Tailors, and cut the barbed wire off of a door. And once barbed wire free, Alyssa opens the door, revealing the Norton's piano room. And honestly, Alyssa, you're just lucky the maniac wasn't playing the game with you. But after rummaging around a wooden box full of personal items, go figure, kind of Alyssa's MO at this point. But this triggers a vision of Papa Norton speaking with May before he leaves for the war.
Daddy, you're home early.
May, I have to tell you something important. Daddy's going off to war.
War?
I hate the thought of leaving you here all alone. I feel dreadful.
I'll be all right. But what about you? You'll miss me and be sad when you're in war, won't you?
Yes, I will. You're the most precious thing to me in the whole world.
But don't worry. Daddy, don't forget the piano concourse is on Christmas Eve. The winner will have their performance aired on the radio. I'll practice really hard and win the contest so that you can hear me when you're out in the war.
That will be wonderful. The competition will be stiff, but if you go to your lessons and practice properly, I'm sure you can do it.
I'll practice every day. I've already chosen the piece I'm going to play. Listen. You told me this watch was a present from Mummy before you got married, remember? I'll play this tune on Christmas Eve so you can think of Mummy and me. Then it'll be like we're all together again.
Nortons, what exactly did you guys do to piss off God in a previous life? Not exactly sure how the mother died, but I'm going to assume during childbirth, you die during the war, and your daughter dies by a maniac caving in her skull.
Tough life.
At this point in time, if your last name's Norton and you're related to these three, you might as well make your peace with God because death is a-coming. But all that aside, concluding that May needs the pocket watch in order to move on, Alyssa heads back to the concert hall, unknowingly walking right into an ambush.
Alyssa. You figured me out, little girl.
Don't sweat it, Alyssa. He may have gotten a drop on you once again, but at least you know what you're dealing with after reading that article that you found with the pocket watch. This mace-wielding hammer killer's name was Robert Morris, and he was caught when he was 32. With unknown motives, Morris had 12 victims before he was eventually caught and executed for his crimes.
They thought they got rid of me that day on the gallows, but they were wrong. Little May was only the beginning.
Apparently, death wasn't enough to stop this man, making May his 13th victim of 26. Goddamn, he was busy. No rest for the wicked, I see. Too bad for him, Alyssa has no intention of being added to his kill count on this night. Her holy water explodes, revealing a handle to a magical bow that she takes aim with and shoots an arrow into the sky, bringing a magical orbital laser straight down on the Moors, ending him once and for all. Suddenly, the piano music began to play once again. Alyssa wastes no time rushing to May's side with the pocket watch in hand. She finds May in the main hall, struggling to play the piano with tears filling her eyes, her sorrow breaking for a fleeting moment as she began to hear the song from the pocket watch.
May, your father is dead. There was an explosion. A shell. I'm so sorry. Please don't cry. I understand how you feel. I never even knew my father. I lost him soon after I was born, but I love my grandfather just the way you love your father. Keep this watch as a memento of your father and continue to practice the piano as hard as you can. You know that would make him happy.
May.
Daddy!
Thank you, May. Your beautiful playing has brought me back to you. At last, we can be together again. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye, May. Goodbye, Mr. Norton. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Ah, look at that. Heaven exists in this world. Too bad it looks like Mom wasn't invited to the little reunion as they head up into heaven. She must have ended up someplace warmer. Unfortunately, as touching as all this might be, Alyssa passes out from exhaustion only to wake up wondering if it all was just a dream, only to be taken off guard by a tapping on her bedroom window. Ripping open the curtain, she finds a young man struggling to hold on to the windowsill from the outside. Alyssa's friend Dennis has arrived, and he is certainly something, but it doesn't appear like Alyssa's too excited to see him, or is she?
Well, it looks like you've grown up too, Dennis.
But setting aside the shipping for now, Dennis comes bearing gifts, a key from Alyssa's mother. It turned out to be the key to her grandfather's room, and she leaves Dennis behind to further investigate her mother's disappearance. I wouldn't worry about it too much, Dennis. The way she was looking at you, you'll have plenty of time to shoot your shot. But before you get another chance, Alyssa's got to head straight to Dick's room to do what she does best, snoop around a bit. It doesn't look like you're going to find much in here, just some dusty old books, a mask collection, and a Victorian dick pic. That's why Alyssa noticed a singular book on her grandfather's desk, maybe one that he was looking into before he disappeared. It was the Book of Entities, and it informed Alyssa that such things have been around possessing innocent humans since Roman times.
Oh, that's terrible.
Victims of the entities were forced to commit ruthless, vicious, cruel crimes on their behalf. Or in some cases, just giving the victims the push they needed to embrace the darkness they already had inside.
Oh, no.
And to make things worse, it doesn't even do any good to execute them because death is simply just not enough to stop them. As subordinates to these entities, they can just keep coming back over and over again to continue their bloodthirsty mission. To simplify it, the subs kill humans, gaining the nourishment they need to become more powerful from the victims' souls, gaining even more power depending on the misery and suffering the victims had to endure. Come to think of it, my chat really seems to enjoy my pain and suffering. But I'm sure it's unrelated.
You think he's onto us, Christoph?
No, he's an idiot.
It might be a good time to point out that the entities and subordinates, as powerful as they might be, are not unstoppable. Not when there are rooters around to take the fight to them. What are rooters, you might ask? Well, they're teenage girls with
phenomenal cosmic power
that have been fighting back against these shadowy enemies for hundreds of years, and show no signs of stopping anytime soon. Confused about what she was reading, Alyssa sat there baffled until Dennis came crashing through the door.
What, did you find anything in there, Alyssa? What's that? Entity? What's an entity? And the Ruders?
So it wasn't a dream.
I'm going to look for my mother.
As determined as she may be, it's dangerous to go alone, so Dennis offers Lid a helping hand in her search. And after a bit of convincing, they decide it's best to divide and conquer, sending Dennis to have a look around upstairs while she has a look down here. After a quick look downstairs, Alyssa decides to check on Dennis when she stumbles across a sigil that was once dormant that began to glow. So Alyssa hits him with her bottle of Rocky Mountain Purified Jesus tears and immediately is hit with stranger danger. Breaking free, she enters the bathroom, finding a random lodger just having a soak. Not enough lemon pledge in the world to clean up this mess. But by the power of game logic, Alyssa's at least going to do something about that smell. So she adds a few drops of lavender water to the bath, allowing the ghost a chance to relax and move on. Now that that's settled, Alyssa remembered that she had found some wine keys in her grandfather's room and recalled that her mother had a broken grandfather clock in hers. So she stops by, slamming the door behind her a little too hard, causing a painting to fall down, revealing another one hidden behind it. Clock's wrong. Nothing Alyssa can't handle. Shouldn't take too long. Better. Eureka! We found a doorway into a red room. No, not that one.
It's about time to get started.
You're not my supervisor!
This one was full of hidden items and books with sigils on the floor in the shape of a portal square. Once activated, the portal square takes her back in time once again to an unknown location. She found herself all alone, or so she thought, until she bent down to pick up a teddy bear left down the rain and found her path blocked off by a red ghost. And to make things worse, there was a blue one not too far down the alleyway past them. Having no time for some red versus blue shenanigans, Alyssa runs down the alleyway and returns the teddy to a crashed car, sending the blue ghost to the great beyond.
Talk about dodging bullets.
But all was not peachy just yet. She still had to contend with the red one, and with no clear way to do that on the outside, she heads inside.
We're totally busted!
This is why you cannot keep doing B&Es to solve all your problems. Luckily for you, the man appeared to be blind, so the best course of action that you can possibly take right now is just to hide and wait for him to pass by. I'd better, Alyssa. He flails around with blood-filled eyes, looking for the girl he could hear but not see. Managing to get away and not get caught by the man, Alyssa continues deeper into the house, stopping only when she begins to hear a woman crying from a closed room.
Albert, is that you?
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
That could have ended better.
No!
Alyssa doesn't stay where she's not wanted, so she stands up, dusts herself off, and begins to leave before becoming distracted once again. And hits just keep on coming, and her ghost pops up and chases her upstairs. This is where she stumbles across Albert's diary, and Alyssa being Alyssa can't fight the temptation not to have a peek. Albert wrote about how he had been saving for months to buy his mom some new glasses, and about how they recently had a relative come and stay with them, and Mr. John Hay, and he gave Albert the creeps. But he was family, and Albert's mother was willing to let him stay because blood is thicker than water. But there had also been burglars spotted in the area, so Albert felt it would be best to make sure the house was locked up tight every night. Whole neighborhood's apparently gone to shit. I mean, who just enters somebody's house uninvited, just willy-nilly to have a look around? What kind of person would do such a thing? Ooh, look, a toolbox. But where could a key be? After searching around a bit, Alyssa messes with a flower and a painting and reveals a hidden path underneath the bed that she decides to investigate. That's a lot less of a hidden pathway and more of a fire hazard waiting to happen. How do you even use that without filling the room above with smoke and death? Shoddy craftsmanship like this would never have happened if Trevor had designed this place. But at least it got you to the first floor safe and all alone.
Nonsense, poopy pants!
Alyssa helps herself to the kitchen keys and half a heart pendant and decides it's probably best that she shows herself the door, making a mad dash for the kitchen despite being chased by the ghost. Gibby and Shaggy would be so proud. But no snacks would be found, just...
Lord almighty, I done see me a dead body.
A dead body belonging to a reporter of sorts, just laying there on the floor. He even had an article on him about the recently killed serial killer John Hay. Ooh, I got a bad feeling I know what happened to Albert and his mother. But let's not jump to conclusions here. Maybe they'll have a happy ending? Let's move on. Turns out Albert's spider senses were tingling for a good reason, according to the article. After cold-bloodedly murdering some pensioners, he robbed them and submerged their bodies in acid to destroy the evidence. But the police were hot on his trail. Hayes had been on the run for about a year before being cornered and found dead inside a metal plant. It was ironic because the acid he used to dispose of the body was exactly what led the police to him in the first place. He ends up falling into one of his vats Joker style as he's trying to escape the police, ending his story just like one of his victims. Yeah, I know it's a good read, Alyssa, but I'd feel really bad if I didn't warn you that. We got company! Realizing that she may have overstayed her welcome just a bit, she steps outside for some fresh air and notices something shiny coming from a nearby dumpster. Finding the other half of the heart pendant, she combined the two together, bringing peace to the red ghost, sending them on their way to meet their blue friend in the great beyond, allowing Alyssa peace of mind enough to where she can take a second to refill her holy water in peace.
Mum?
Damn it, Alyssa, you let her get away. Your mom appeared at 30% opacity and then just disappeared without a trace. Or did she?
Ooh, piece of candy.
She finds her grandfather's desk key just laying there on the ground and concludes that that's probably where she needs to head to next. So she heads back through the portal to see what she might find. Unlocking the desk revealed where Dick was keeping the Book of Entities Volume 2 along with a weird mask. The book was a short read, more of a tips and tricks for dummies for defeating subordinates, nothing that we didn't already know. But the mask, on the other hand, Alyssa wondered why it wasn't hanging on the wall with the rest. And sure enough, hanging the mask back on the wall revealed another hidden room. Alyssa searches the room and finds a
Microfilm.
It looked important, so she pockets the
Microfilm.
and reads a letter left behind by her grandfather.
The Ruda who battle the entities are scattered all over Europe. We, the Hamiltons, are also of Ruda stock. Of this lineage I am proud. The Ruda blood is passed down to females. My wife, Francesca, was a Ruda. In my naive youth, I did not believe any of it. I denied the presence of entities and Rudas alike, preferring to believe that it was all just an old wives' tale. But then I found the Book of Entities, and Nancy began to sharpen her Ruda powers. I finally opened my eyes to the truth and began my research into the subject. The Ruda powers first appear in a young woman's early teens and peak at age 15. The powers then gradually diminish, usually disappearing entirely by the age of 20. For generations, the women of the Hamilton clan have spent their teens fighting against subordinates for the Ruda cause, before marrying in their 20s in order to produce the next generation of Rudas. Nancy is already 18. Her Ruda powers are dwindling rapidly, and it is almost time for her to pass the job on to the next female. We Hamiltons think of our Ruda blood as something of which to be proud, as well as a responsibility that must be taken very seriously. I am sad to give my beloved Nancy to another man, but it must be done. I will watch her marry with a broken heart. Another Ruda has been born to the Hamilton household, my first grandchild. I chose for her the name Alyssa. She is bright and lively, perhaps even a little strong-willed, and yet appears somehow wise beyond her years. I pray she will grow strong and healthy, and will fulfill her obligation as a noble Ruda.
A Ruda family. So, I am a Ruda. It's in my blood. Leave it to me, Grandpa. I have the same Ruda strain in my blood as my mother. I can save Dorothy and Albert. Then and only then will I be able to leave this nightmare and see my mum again. I'm sure that's the way, isn't it?
Whoa, slow down a bit. I know you're eager to help, but let's not do anything rash. And there she goes again. Might as well follow and see what kind of trouble she gets herself into. Armed with the knowledge that she's a Ruda, Alyssa rushes off determined to save Albert and Dorothy, even if that means taking the fight to the entities and the subordinates. Through the portal she goes, arriving back at Albert's home where she returns to microfilm, allowing the reporter to move on. Once the coast is clear, Alyssa takes a moment to have a look around the crime scene when she realizes what kind of mess she now found herself in. Yeah, she realizes that she's definitely dealing with a subordinate, but at the same time, she found a few secrets worth looking into. And after gaining access to the work area out back, Alyssa finds her way into Albert's workshop.
Albert? Are you here, Albert?
Mother, what are you doing? I told you shouldn't wander around outside by yourself.
I came to tell you that dinner's ready, and I told you that you don't need to be worried about me. Your old mother may have dicky eyes, but she's not on her last legs yet. You just concentrate on your work. Anyway, what is it you're making this time? Some new toy that'll have the local kids agog, I bet.
Actually, I've been busy making this.
Albert, what's this?
Winter's coming, and I don't want you catching cold, wandering around outside. I've been making this in my spare time. How is it, warm enough?
It's lovely. So warm and soft. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's enough playing happy families. You make me sick. How do you like the acid bath? May you both be blinded and search for each other in vain for all eternity. Want to join them? I hear the acid's lovely.
Thinking he had her cornered, Hayes moves in for the kill, unaware that Alyssa knows the dangers of mixing chemicals. Okay, that was a little too close for comfort, but despite the danger, Alyssa knew she had to have a look around that workshop, so she hid outside until the coast was cleared and went back in to have a look around. And her instincts turned out to be correct, because upon having a look around the workshop, she found the toolbox key. I have absolutely no idea why the toolbox is in the bedroom and not in the workshop, but hey, let's go back and have a look. Pop it open and have a look inside, and Alyssa finds a hexagonal tool. A tool inside of a toolbox. Yeah, that's actually more surprising than it should be. She uses the hexagonal tool to gain access to the sewers and does the best she can to ignore the smell. She had saw Albert's gift to his mother get swept down here, and she was determined to find it. But little did she know, Hayes was waiting for her in a room that led to the sewer entrance. He chases her around a bit, almost into the arms of another ghost, but she ends up losing him in the sewers. Alyssa, I know you're scared, but you really should watch yourself. Oh god, I think some of it got in her mouth. You may not want to think about what you're swimming around in, Alyssa, but at least it can't get any worse.
I stand corrected.
But after drying off a bit, Alyssa attempts to make her way across once again. That's unfortunate. Don't worry, Alyssa doesn't give up so easily. She does eventually make it to the other side, where she finds Dorothy's present just floating there, soaked in God knows what. This was great. Despite the smell, all she had to do was return it, and Dorothy and Albert could move on. But too bad Alyssa didn't realize that she wasn't alone down here, as Hayes sneaks up behind her.
I found you!
He chases and corners her in the maintenance room, where Alyssa uses an OSHA violation to bring down the lightning on him. It is shocking how bad you are at this. Oh, come on. He set me up for that one. Trust me, there is worse to come. Either way, good job, Alyssa. I'm sure he won't be getting up anytime soon. Hayes may be down, but Alyssa didn't want to stick around to see for how long, so she drops off a letter to the Golden Ghost so they can move on, and she heads upstairs. Jesus, some people don't know when to quit.
You think I let you interfere?
You can't beat me. I'll destroy you.
Yeah, none of your lip, little girl. You have your own destiny to accept.
My destiny?
You must die, Alyssa.
No, but I don't really think that's her destiny. I mean, it didn't even involve a magical space laser coming down from the sky and destroying you, and look what's about to happen. There we go, 31 victims avenged. Now Alyssa can finally focus on Albert and Dorothy.
I can see. I can see. Albert! Albert!
Mother,
Albert!
I waited so long for you.
Remember this? Is the winter shawl you knitted for me?
Mother, I can see. I can see too.
Thank you, Alyssa.
Thank you very much.
Dorothy, Albert, goodbye.
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 Quite a feat destroying 2 subordinates. The ruder strain appears especially strong within you, Alyssa.
Well, that feels like a bit of an overreaction, but no worries. A clock tower emerges where the house once stood, and Alyssa's flown to the top of it on the clock face.
Alicia, this is no longer your home. This is the dark realm where I rule. In 2 hours, the clock will strike midnight, and your 15th birthday will arrive. When that happens, you and I will become one, and together we will obtain eternal life.
My 15th birthday?
Are you looking forward to it? So am I, my dear. So am I. I can't wait. Soon we two will be united forever. Alyssa, you might have defeated 2 of our number, but your mother was killed by a subordinate long ago.
No! You're lying! She can't!
If you don't believe me, you can go to hell and see for yourself!
What the...
But no worries, viewers. Alyssa doesn't take fall damage. She wakes up in the caverns below unharmed. The cave she now found herself in didn't seem to be too spooky, although it led into an underground waterway that had its own little ghost friend floating about.
If you'll come with me, you'll float too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Alyssa's going to take a pass on that one as she takes a ladder up into what appears to be a power plant of some sort. But no sooner after finding a worker's key, Alyssa finds herself once again cornered by another maniac.
You might have defeated the others, but you're no match for me. You're going to die by my hand, girl.
Yeah, Alyssa, my experience has taught me that 2 X's are better than none, so you better...
Run, bitch! Run!
Advice Alyssa takes to heart as she takes the opportunity to hide away until the coast is clear. Hide-and-seek champion and B&E specialist. Your mother would be proud, Alyssa. But she heads deeper into the plant where she finds some distribution plans that might come in handy. And now with the plans in hand, Alyssa heads up to B1 to retrieve some rubber gloves because as we all know, safety first. Following that up by heading to B2 to retrieve a crowbar and finishing it all up by heading to B3 to reset the power. Now that she's able to see what she's doing, she's able to use that shiny new crowbar of hers to pry open a hatch so she can get down below. Finding herself by that floating ghost and its skelly remains. Poor guy came down here to rescue somebody only to end up getting captured and left down there for dead. A fate he was forced to carry out blind because in the dark he lost his glasses.
My glasses! I can't see without them. They should be around here somewhere.
But don't you worry, Ghosty. Alyssa's got your back. It took all 5 seconds to find and return them, but hey, at least now you can rest in peace. Good work helping out, Alyssa, but I think it's about time that we figure out how to get out of this place.
Hey, what are you looking at? Oh, you pervert!
So she heads back up to B1, flips the switch, and unlocks all the electrical locks so she can be on her way. But after passing through them and heading upstairs, Alyssa begins to hear the cries of an infant. Not to mention suffering from a major case of deja vu as she looks for the child as she searches around these familiar-looking rooms. Turns out she was sent back to the past by a lodger to witness the time when her father, grandfather, and mother were all still around. Unfortunately forcing her to face a memory that she may not be ready to witness.
Is that you? Where are you? Mum.
Alyssa. My sweet baby. This necklace has been handed down in the Hamilton family for generations. There are 4 leaves, one each for love, friendship, hope, and courage. These 4 leaves together lead the wearer to true happiness. I'll give it to you, Elisa, when you're older.
Oh, you're laughing. Philip, darling, father, Alyssa has laughed for the first time.
Aw, never mind. That was actually kind of a sweet memory to witness.
But wait, there's more!
Of course there is. How about we head upstairs and check on dear old Dad and Grandpa Dick?
What are you doing, Dick?
Grandpa!
Stop, Dick! Don't do this!
That escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Now you've seen the truth. It was your beloved grandfather who murdered your father.
That's impossible. It's not true.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
Chopper was here to make Alyssa his 45th victim, but she wasn't having it. But after trading a few blows with him, Chopper seemed to be unharmed.
You are going to suffer the same fate as all the rest.
Alyssa was confused, finding herself teleported to a random graveyard holding a letter from her grandfather.
My sweet Alyssa, the small hands have grasped my heart and will not let go. But to think that the father of my beautiful granddaughter is Philip, it is more than I can bear. I consented to the marriage so as to protect the Ruda bloodline. I realize now that was a foolish mistake. The man lacks class and has not a shred of dignity. He loses no opportunity to exhibit his stupidity and weakness of character. We Hamiltons have no place for men of that nature. Even Nancy has been affected by his rubbish, saying that she does not want to raise Alyssa to be a Ruda. Of course, the existence of a Ruda is fraught with danger. But given the gravity of the situation and the great responsibility of a Ruda family, the obligation cannot be shirked. Any attempt to avoid such a duty is indeed shameful. As long as I am the head of this house, that man will never be accepted as one of us. Finally, Philip went too far. I could no longer allow him to defy me. That headstrong act has turned me into a vile murderer. I must carry my secret to the grave. I cannot allow the Ruda line and the Hamilton legacy to be disrupted. There is nothing to be done but handle the police carefully and tread with the utmost caution.
What a dick, but the name does fit. Yeah, there's definitely no denying it now, Alyssa. Grandpa killed Daddy in the courtyard when you were just a baby.
Tough life.
Can't wait for the Clock Tower 3 edition of Clue to come out this fall.
Fuck, you're old. Fake laugh, hiding real pain.
Alyssa was just taking body blow after body blow. First she finds out her mother may have been murdered, and then she finds out her grandfather killed her father. Most people would have noped the fuck out by this point, but not Alyssa. She was determined to continue her investigation and continue to fight against the entities. She searches for a way out of the graveyard when she stumbles upon some kind of gathering of the spirits.
By an entity and have been trapped in the darkness ever since.
What pain? Help! Help me!
It's too dark to see anything. Where am I? Tell me where I am.
Those cursed entities. I just wish I could be resurrected to fight them.
What a shame. A subordinate stole my heart from me, and the entities used it to perform the ritual of engagement.
Wait! What is the ritual of engagement? Tell me what's going on.
This ritual of engagement sounded fishy to Alyssa, and she needed to know more about it.
I feel I was denied. Critical. Need to know information.
So she headed back into the graveyard where she found another random portal square, one that led into a tomb just full of ghosts.
That wasn't challenge accepted.
Each one guarding a tomb down a narrow hallway, and I guess we better just get used to hugs, Alyssa.
Hug you and squeeze you.
But once Alyssa manages to get the feeling back in her legs, she squeezes past all the ghosts, collecting the stones she needed to send them all back to the great beyond.
This house is clear.
With those pesky ghosts out the way, the compass of light is revealed and Alyssa takes it back to the graveyard with her, where she finds another teleporter that she takes to a rather foggy and dark part of the graveyard, where she comes across her mother's crashed car with no body inside. Does this mean her mother's still alive?
Now you know, Alyssa, this is what happens to those who dare to stand against us. Nancy is not the only one. This graveyard is full of the bones of those who I have destroyed.
You're lying!
Now, prepare to hand over your heart. The ritual of engagement will begin shortly.
So apparently this graveyard that Alyssa finds herself in is Chopper's trophy room, where he keeps the remains of all the rooters he's killed in the past. Even though there was no body, he's still claiming he killed Nancy. Alyssa takes shelter in a nearby shack. Not exactly the best hiding spot. This place was creepy as hell. But finding the courage to enter, it did prove to have its benefits. Alyssa found a book of Entities Volume 3, which spoke of the oldest subordinate, Harold Powell, a deformed woodcutter who had to deal with bullying his entire life. But none of that hurt worse than when his proposal was denied by the innkeeper's daughter. Despite the cruelty of the rejection, I'm not sure chopping her up with an axe was the right way to go, Harold. Oh boy, I guess we're just going to have to agree to disagree, because Harold went off and developed a taste for butchering young women. He ended up going from village to village for 2 years doing what he did best until the villagers had enough and butchered him as well. But Harold's taste for his victims was too intriguing for the entities to ignore. So he was revived to hunt the rooters, something he was more than happy to do. Alyssa needed to have a closer look at that car that Harold attacked, so she snuck out of the shack and headed back, where she found a letter left behind by Nancy. She wrote of the internal struggle that she faced daily as being a rooter's mother. As a former one herself, she knew the dangers that came from being one. She didn't even have an idea sending Alyssa away was the right move. Would that really be enough to save her daughter? There was only 2 weeks left to Alyssa's birthday, and she had no idea the entities would leave her be.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Nancy, they kind of need to take the heart of a 15-year-old rooter on their birthday, so I seriously doubt they're going to ignore the soon-to-be 15-year-old rooter. Silver lining, Alyssa's been kicking their asses all night, though. And on that note, this letter proved that this was her mother's car, but Alyssa wasn't convinced that her mother was really dead. With no body, there was a chance her mother was still alive. Alyssa was so close to finding out what happened to her mother, and she wasn't going to stop now. But she had to deal with Chopper first. After flipping a couple of switches on some lion head statues, she was able to recover the compass of shadows and headed back to the main graveyard once again. After placing the compasses on their respective tombstones, she opened up yet another portal to places unknown. The portal took Alyssa deep, deep underground, with only a single narrow path that led her to an altar.
If thy true desire is to become an entity, there is no purer path than this. Remove the heart of a 15-year-old rooter of the same bloodline, and before the beat of her heart is stilled, drink deeply of her blood. Thus will the ritual of engagement be completed, and the dark power of the entity shall be thine.
What? That's why they're talking about my heart. But who? Who wants to drink my blood to become an entity? Who would do this?
Yeah, I got a couple of thoughts, but let's just focus on the W we just got. We now know what the ritual engagement is. And one thing is for certain, it is not good for Alyssa. Too bad that knowledge comes with a bit of a price. As she begins to leave, she feels a deep tremor in the cave.
Get to the chopper!
Alyssa, you damn well know that that's not what they meant.
Alyssa! What chance does a pathetic little girl like you have to bring salvation to the dead rooters? None!
But I guess there's no avoiding it. Time to put Chopper down for good.
It's the last one! Try this!
Nice shot, Alyssa, but now that the 44 victims have been avenged, the fallen rooters would like to have a word with you.
We're saved. Thank you, Alyssa.
Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you.
Destroy the subordinates. Don't let the ritual of engagement happen. Goodbye.
Alyssa?
Alyssa.
Mum!
It's not that easy, Alyssa. Alyssa, it is I who will carry out the ritual of engagement to become an entity. You have no choice but to succumb to my final subordinate and donate your heart.
Alyssa!
Dennis?
Alyssa!
Dennis!
Alyssa, are you all right? I've been looking everywhere for you.
My mother was...
What happened? What's the matter with your mother? What's this?
My mum used to cherish its four-leaf clover necklace, but one of the leaves is missing. This is my last chance to see my mother again. I can't defeat the entity without all four leaves.
Alyssa, it'll be okay. I'm here. I'll do anything to help you.
Dennis!
All the leaves will be found in time. You have to believe me, Alyssa.
You're right. I'll find all the leaves and save Mum from the entities.
That's the spirit. Don't forget, you can count on me. If there's anything I can do, just ask. Just one thing I'd like to know. What is this place?
No clue, Dennis. One thing is for certain, Alyssa needs that last piece of her necklace if she wants any chance of saving her mother. She got the first three pieces from the first three subordinates she took down, so logically the last one has to be with the final subordinate. So let the games begin. Alyssa and Dennis are teleported outside where they head into a tunnel in hopes of finding the final subordinate. So the tunnel had led to a random city block where Dennis heard a random woman calling out to him from the window.
Dennis! Where are you?
Sis!
What? But you said she wouldn't be back for another 6 months.
I know, but that's her. No mistake. I'm sure of it. Linda!
Wait, Dennis.
Sis!
I've come back, Dennis. I couldn't leave you in that house alone any longer. I'm here now.
I've missed you so much, sis.
Dennis, watch out!
I missed you too, Dennis.
Nice to meet you, Alyssa. You have some remarkable powers.
But no one is powerful enough to defeat us. If you want your friend alive, give us your heart so we can create a new entity.
Oh boy, way to prove to be a valuable member of the team, Dennis. Now Dennis has gone and fallen for an obvious trap. Let's just have a look around this creepy ass hospital, Alyssa, see if we can't locate them. And if I'm being completely honest, we might want to do it quickly because, there's a lot of ghosties flying around here that I'm sure would love to make you a permanent patient. So why don't we go ahead and try to butter up a few of them and get on their good side? I do believe the one in the lobby is looking for a picture of their mother. Why don't we deliver this one and see what happens? Now that that's taken care of, she grabs the A key from the reception's desk and heads back out to figure out how to deal with the rest. After searching a couple of rooms, Alyssa crawls through a hole where she finds a random hand mirror just sitting on a nightstand. I'm not gonna lie, a replica of that looking glass would be an awesome pre-order bonus if they ever decide to remaster this game. But as impressive as the mirror may be, the one out in the hallway caught Alyssa's attention a lot more. Sure, Alyssa, take a moment to check your reflection. It's not like people you care about are in danger or anything. This is clearly the perfect time to let your guard down.
Hello there.
Yeah, if you think about it, Alyssa, you really only have yourself to blame here. Luckily for her, the looking glass was having a weird reaction to the mirror, allowing her to pass right through it.
I'm alive!
You forgot there were two of them, didn't you, Alyssa?
I'll kill you! Oh, no, no, no.
Alyssa makes a mad dash into the side room where she finds a random release form. Could be handy later. Now all you gotta do is give the better half of the Scissor Twins a slip and then we can put it to some good use. Alyssa manages to make it to the bathroom downstairs without being caught, even managing to grab a picture with Scissor Woman in hot pursuit. She noticed a piece of candy when she ran in here to hide, and once the coast was cleared, she had a look and it ended up being the C key. And having already found the B key in the same room as the looking glass, she had the complete set. But where did they go? Probably back on the other side of the mirror. We weren't given the proper chance to have a look around before we got chased over here. So she passes back to the other side, delivers the release papers and the photographs, and then the ghosties on their way, and notices that there was a random door that she didn't see in the dark hallway. 3 keys, 3 locks. It doesn't take a gosh darn genius to figure this one out. Kind of high tech for a hospital like this too. There must be something good in here. She pops her head in, finds the portal square, pours one out for the homies, and is teleported to a random freaking Armageddon spot.
Adohe, Adohe, Adonai Don, Nehe Shibolat. Yodohe, Adohe, Adonai Don, Nehe Shibolat.
Grandpa?
Having no other option but to stand there and watch her grandfather enter the clock tower, Alyssa noticed that he dropped some papers and decided to have a look.
Today is Alyssa's 10th birthday. The ruder powers will become visible any time now. Alyssa is growing up into a lovely young lady. She is everything to me, and I wish for nothing more than to watch over her all her life. But I know that is not to be. Every step she takes towards adulthood is a step away from me. Must I leave her? I want so much to be with her always. I have stumbled across an incredible document, an account of a ceremony called the Ritual of Engagement. It is written that by obtaining the heart of a Ruder on her 15th birthday and drinking her blood, a person can be transformed into an entity and receive the gift of immortality. I am disgusted by the nature of this ritual, of course, but at the same time, there is a part of me that cannot resist its allure. If I tore out Alyssa's heart with these hands and partook of her blood, I could be joined with her for all eternity. Am I capable of such a monstrosity? Must I desecrate my beloved in order to save myself? Yet another amazing discovery. The legend of Lord Burroughs. In the document is a mysterious triangular crest. It is said that the one who is able to decipher the secrets of the crest will be able to become an entity. I suspect that this too is related to the ritual of engagement. But what could the letters A, D, and N signify? I must know. Somehow, I must uncover the truth. The answer is hiding out there somewhere.
Jesus, that was a long one. You might want to head inside of the clock tower and make sure the old man didn't get too far ahead of you, Alyssa. And he's gone. He moves fast for an old guy. He's nowhere in sight. But you know who is? Scissor Man is. He pops up to offer his services at no charge, but you might want to watch your step, Alyssa. Gravity for the win, but you might want to pull yourself up before any more of that gives way, Alyssa. Ooh, look, a memo. You won't be needing this anymore. Turns out the author of the memo wasn't a very good person himself, playing his part in wiping out almost an entire village, carrying out murders that the Scissor Twins ordered. But the guilt of how many people they were killing was weighing on him. But there was hope the new batch was to be imprisoned in the kitchen, where he recalls that a steel bar in the window could be removed. Maybe, just maybe, somebody could escape and alert the world to the atrocities happening behind these walls. It would appear they outlived the usefulness at some point in time, and how'd that work out for you, buddy? Oh, calm down. No reason to lose your head. There you go. Now is the appropriate time to judge me. Despite him doing some pretty heinous stuff, though, he did do more for us than most of the ghosts we've come across. If not for his expert note-taking, we probably wouldn't know where we were going, so Alyssa should keep an eye out for that head of his. But for now, time to make our way to the kitchen. Unfortunately for Alyssa, there's not exactly a safe route to get to that window.
No! Hell no!
But she does manage to scooch her way across, where she finds the window to the kitchen and...
Yes!
The bar is loose, allowing Alyssa to squeeze through the window. Alyssa rummages around the kitchen for a little bit before she finds a little surprise inside the oven. Hey there, little guy. I know somebody that would love to see you.
I'm not even sorry.
But all unnecessary jokes aside, that'll have to wait because apparently we're not alone.
Surprise, motherfucker.
But no worries, dear viewers. Alyssa's always prepared to deliver a baking lesson. It's a simple recipe, really. Anybody could do it. She pops Scissor Woman right in the oven and enjoys the view of the cake through the oven door. Now that that's taken care of, Alyssa takes the head back to the headless body and sends the ghost on their way before continuing her search. But upon returning back to the kitchen, Alyssa noticed two things. The cake was missing, and there was a piece of candy roasting in the open flame. So Alyssa douses the flames with some ash and grabs a hold of the egg crust, pockets it, and continues her search, and eventually ends up in a library of sorts, where she found some more notes left behind by Grandpa Dick.
I have trudged around the blasted continent until my shoes are almost worn through, but it is no use. Where is the castle of Lord Burrows? That is the only place where the mystery of the triangular crest can be solved, I feel sure. It is hard to believe that 3 years have flown by since I embarked on my journey. I am not a smidgen closer to finding Burrows Castle. Meanwhile, I grow older by the day, and my health continues to decline. I am certain that Nancy has by this time found my journals and realized my plan to seize Alyssa's heart on her 15th birthday to carry out the ritual of engagement. How Alyssa must have grown in my absence. How I wish to be with her, to be one with her. And yet, I do not have the courage to perform the ritual. What do I do? If I do nothing, I am no better than her father. This Hamilton, at least, should have spine.
What spine would that be? Would it be the one where you're willing to sacrifice your granddaughter to achieve immortality, or the one that you used when you told the police and your daughter what you did to her husband? The first one, of course. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say it's the fact that you are willing to actually murder your granddaughter just so you don't have to face your own mortality. I mean, but that's just me. I'm just a normal person. I'm not a dick. Yeah, killing Nancy's husband was a mistake and definitely was fueled by anger, but honestly, it could be chucked up to being an accident maybe, or you being influenced by the entities. But yeah, that second one pales in comparison that you actually want to carry out the ritual of engagement. After finishing the notes, Alyssa pokes around the library a little bit and finds the end crest hanging up behind the bookcases. But the question is, where did these go? While searching around for some clues, Alyssa's OCD kicks in. She notices a candle had been moved. What? We'll just slide that back into place. Hey, look, those pillars that rose up from the floor had the same markings as the crest. Oh. Popping the crest in their appropriate pillars allowed the painting to show the way, and I'm sure that was Alyssa's intent the entire time. Moving on.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Hey, look, just in time for the party, but Alyssa doesn't have time for any of that, so she rushes past the Scissor Woman and runs into a room where she's locked inside. Not a bad place to get locked in. Ooh, a painting. And look, the D crest is here as well. Not to mention a copy of the Book of Entities Volume 4, so at least Alyssa will have something to read while she waits. It was basically a brief history of Lord Boros. He had plans to perform the ritual engagement on his daughter, but his daughter passed away in a carriage accident before he was able to.
Tough life.
This enraged him so much he started killing his own staff, even murdered his wife when she tried to intervene, stopping only when his clumsy ass got crushed in the gears of the clock tower. But as you can probably guess, this wasn't the end of Boros. He vowed as long as the clock tower remained that he would continue to plague this world with hatred and terror. Well, somebody's got to do it, Alyssa. The internet was way before their time. Doxing by Carrier Crow must be a real bitch back then. Ah, look at here. It looks like there's another letter from Dick in the Book of Entities.
I have found the Burrows Castle. I have finally solved the mystery. Lord Darcy Burrows had a daughter, Annabel, but also a son, William, from his first marriage. Although Burrows himself was killed, William escaped and lived out the rest of his days in peace under the pseudonym Billy Brown. Billy Brown. What a strange twist of fate. Although I took the Hamilton name when I married Francesca, my father was a Brown, a descendant of Billy Brown, which means that I am directly related to Lord Burrows. The A, D, and N crests also make perfect sense now. Lord Burrows' beloved daughter Annabel's name, his first name, Darcy, and his wife's first name, Natalia. My name is Dick, my daughter is Nancy, and and my lovely granddaughter is Alyssa. Destiny weaves its web in the strangest of patterns. Does the legacy of Lord Burroughs live on? The fury of he who failed to become an entity? Is it futile, after all, to fight against fate?
So, it turns out Burroughs and Grandpa are related. I'm sure that won't come back to bite you in the ass one day, Alyssa.
Dennis! Dennis! I'll save you, Dennis!
Quick! Change the channel!
Okay, out of sight, out of mind. That gives us some time to figure some shit out, and at least we now know where the decrest goes, so that's something. It's real simple. Just place decrest in D slot, and D-Way will open up for you, Alyssa. Right into what the fuck is happening right out here. Go right ahead, Alyssa. I'm sure you'll be just fine. So she mad dashes past the knights, takes a breather and a medieval torture device, discovering that it's a hidden elevator. She rides it down to the dungeon below, hits the switch that opens a hidden path, and makes it through just before getting crushed by the wall coming crashing back down, leaving her just enough time to reach the torture room to save Dennis.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
Welcome, Alyssa. That was just a dress rehearsal. Now let the show begin. Lights, camera, action!
Dennis!
Alyssa! Stop! Hey, I'll do anything! Anything!
Alyssa, give us your beating heart or else Dennis is going to be sliced and diced.
Run, Alyssa! Forget about me! Run for your life! Run! Run!
Dennis!
Silence! What's it going to be? Leave Dennis or donate your heart to us? The clock is ticking. Look at him! We need an answer!
Yes, what's it to be?
Well, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that could have ended better, but hey, at least Dennis is still alive. So there's no time to waste. We must rush to save our friend and ooh, look, the Book of Entities Volume 5. I'm sure Dennis will be just fine while we have a peek. This time we learned that the scissor twins that have been causing us such problems work directly underneath Burroughs. Being alive when he was makes sense. I guess that explains why they were wandering around his castle. Outside their fondness for dismembering and torturing their victims, there's really not much known about these two. Dismemberment and torture? Yeah, I'm not really liking Dennis's odds. We probably should go check on him. But after rushing through the door, she somehow ends up in her grandfather's secret office from the mansion once again. Alyssa finds a secret pathway behind a bookcase after getting nostalgic over a picture she made for Dick before he became a dick. She climbs the ladder that leads to a secret hatch in the projection room where she appears to be alone, or so she thought.
Lord Burroughs, my ancestor, hear me. I know of your pain and anger when you lost your beloved daughter Annabelle. Just before the ritual of engagement, my love for Alyssa led me to kill her father, Philip. Entity, was everything you're doing, is it all because of you? Do you want me to resurrect Lord Burroughs after 400 years? To unite us and to enact the ritual of engagement with Alyssa's blood? Is that what you want? Do you truly want me to stab my dearest granddaughter in the chest? Well, that doesn't sound bad. Once the deed is done, I will be with Alyssa forever. Return to this earth, Lord Burroughs. Join with me, and we will complete the ritual of engagement. Enter my body, and let our flesh be fused.
Alyssa. The one who's after your heart is none other than your grandfather, with the blessing of our own Lord Burroughs.
Once we have your heart, the two of them will carry out the ritual of engagement, and a new entity will be born. Thanks to you, our ranks will swell and prosper.
Now, here, Alyssa, you wouldn't sacrifice the life of a friend just to save yourself, now, would you?
Chop, 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 chop. On flesh, get every
See, Dennis gets it. If the killer's got you, then you should want your loved ones to get away. That being said, we all know what Alyssa's about to do. Them scissor twins done wronged her man, so she runs the gauntlet once again, reaching the torture room ready to dispense some justice, firing one hell of a shot to take down Scissor Woman first.
Alyssa! Hurry up and get me off this thing!
Alyssa! Jemima! How dare you kill my sister! You'll pay for it! I'll make mincemeat out of you!
Yeah, pretty safe to say he's pissed off, Alyssa.
I'm the winner. Now to take revenge for my sister.
Alyssa!
Thank you.
No, thank you. It was you who saved me. It was something special.
You destroyed all the subordinates. You think you're so clever, but you still have to destroy me. If you want to save your mother, come up to the top of the clock tower. I'm waiting.
Grandfather!
Grandfather?
The real identity of the Dark Man. It's my grandfather. I have to go, Dennis. You stay here.
Wait, Alyssa. Don't treat me like a girl. I'm the man here.
Dennis, you may be a man, but you're not a Ruder. I am.
Hey, don't leave me, Alyssa.
Alyssa chases after her grandfather, taking a quick shortcut because nobody's got time for all these steps, and after crawling around the clock tower gears, finds her way back outside, where she pulls the lever. Yeah, that's our bad. I'm sure the correct lever's around here somewhere. We'll just flip this one and be on our way. It was time to end this, so Alyssa climbs the ladder, makes her way through the gears, and rides one up to the roof for the final showdown.
I've been waiting for you, Alyssa. You don't know how hard I tried to find Burroughs Castle in order to become one with you. I searched and searched for 3 years, and at last I found it. Burroughs Castle used to stand in exactly the same spot where the Hamilton house is now. It's not a coincidence. It's all the entities doing. This is our destiny.
Grandpa!
Don't look so sad. Once the ritual of engagement is complete, you and I will become a new entity, and we can be together forever.
No! Please, Grandpa, come to your senses and give me my mum back.
Your mum? Your mother is right there. Nancy betrayed me more than once. She married that weak, lily-livered, good-for-nothing Philip. And then she tried to prevent me from becoming one with my most precious granddaughter. That's why she's there. There was no other way, Alyssa.
Damn you! You're not my grandfather. I don't know who you are anymore. But I know that I'm a Ruder. I'll destroy you and save my mother.
Fool! 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 In a few minutes, the clock will strike 12, announcing the arrival of your 15th birthday. Then the ritual of engagement will commence. Now, Alyssa, time to lie down on the altar and prepare to surrender your heart to me.
Alyssa! Where are you, Alyssa? Alyssa!
Dennis!
Alyssa!
Dennis!
Give up, Alyssa! No one can help you now. Not even your dear mother! All hail, entities of the earth. Burroughs and I will now carry out the ritual to become a new entity. Ghosts haunting the human realm. Subordinates dwelling in the shadows. Gather here to witness the glorious ritual of engagement. Yadohe, Adohe, Adonai Ton. Nehe Shiblat. Adohe, Adonai Ton. Nehe Shiblat. Yadohe, Adohe, Adonai Ton. Nehe Shiblat. Yadohe, Adohe, Adonai Ton. Nehe Shiblat. The time has come at last, my dearest Alyssa. Merge into one entity with me, so that we can be together forever!
Alyssa!
You little... Alyssa!
Alyssa!
Alyssa manages to put up one hell of a fight, but not even 2 magical space lasers was enough to take down the fusion of Dickie Boros.
Alyssa. My dearest Alyssa. You always were a spirited child. But that's enough. Now be a good girl and grab my hand. What's the matter, Alyssa? Don't you want to live happily with me for all eternity? Alyssa! You belong to me forever!
Give up, Grandfather. I won't allow the ritual to happen.
Never!
Dennis!
Alyssa!
Dennis! Mum, we did it! We did it, Mum!
Well, that's certainly one way to end things, but just for fun, I have some notes. I really did enjoy Clock Tower 3. I mean, I'm not an idiot. It does have many flaws, but I can overlook a lot of them. I mean, as someone who did not play the previous Clock Tower games, not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't have access, it honestly wasn't that bad of a game to me. Now, maybe if I had played the previous games, then it might have hit me a different way, but as me just walking straight into this game, I played worse, I played better, I just enjoyed myself playing it. I mean, the game has basic survival horror mechanics down. I mean, you're looking for items to solve puzzles so you can get from point A to point B. You'll run and hide when you need to. You fight when you have no other choice and your back's against the wall. I mean, the puzzles are stupid easy and the battle mechanics are annoying as hell, but hey, they're there. I mean, like I said, I like this game. I mean, I'd be lying if they didn't admit that the continuity errors bug the living hell out of me and the plot holes can really get under my skin from time to time. But it's not like I have a list of the errors that I happen to notice. I mean, I totally have a list. All right, I guess I can name off a few, and if I missed any, you guys can tell me about them down in the comments. Like May's father having a photograph of him after the war with his arm missing, smoking a cigarette. I mean, makes zero sense considering he died in the war in a quite brutal fashion. Or the weapons that the subordinates use. Like, the dude's name was literally Sledgehammer, and he used a mace in the game, but used a sledgehammer in the cutscene. Made zero sense, and he wasn't the only one. You had one guy switching from mini axes to mini scythes, and perhaps the worst failure was that you had these scissor twins switching from their patented scissor swords to rapiers and twin fucking katanas. How does that make sense? Their name is literally Scissor Man and Scissor Woman, and they don't use scissor parts to fight you. You had one job, and you couldn't do that. But still, moving on. And speaking of the Scissor Twins, I'd like to take a moment and ask how the hell this dude Chopper over here is the oldest subordinate. He's killed the most rooters, but yet he is still playing third banana to these clowns. The man even directly influenced Grandpa Dicky into killing Alyssa's father. I mean, come on. He is clearly the most evil of the batch of subordinates in this game, next to Boros and Dickie. But hey, let's get off the villains for a little bit and talk about her supposed allies, because I'm telling you right now, Dennis, I don't trust Dennis. And my trust issues begin right after this line read.
One more thing. Isn't it your birthday tomorrow?
Huh? My birthday?
See, even after all this time, I still remember.
With everybody bringing up Alyssa's birthday throughout this entire game, it was really weird for Dennis to be bringing it up out of nowhere. I mean, the dude randomly pops up in the clock tower. It made zero sense for him being there. I know he was helping us check out the mansion, but the mansion blew up. He should have blew up with the mansion. My early prediction after he popped up like the second or third time was that Dennis was actually a subordinate in disguise, just taking the form of her childhood friend. But obviously that didn't happen. And hey, Dennis ended up with the girl at the end. So hey, he did something right. But not everything about this game was bad or had me suspicious. I actually really enjoyed exploring all the different areas that the game had to offer. Plus, I have always been a fan of like just details in games. I loved all the like information that you found about each of the subordinates. And also, I kind of wish they would have went a little bit deeper with that and also did a little bit more with the ghosts, because there was just a lot of little lore here and there that was incredible. And I just feel like they didn't push it far enough, but it was still really cool to find. I mean, the whole thing gave me Sailor Moon vibes. I mean, you had this fish out of water girl who basically was being forced into a war she knew nothing about against the entities and basically just had to rise to the occasion. I mean, I really appreciated how they didn't make her feel overpowered. I mean, she was legitly just a teenage girl from boarding school who literally was in a situation over her head and quite honestly chose flight over fight most of the time, really only choosing to fight when she had no other choice. They also did a solid job of making it feel like she was progressing over time with her powers by making it seem like she was doing more damage and her abilities were getting stronger and basically making her seem like she was really coming into herself by the end of the game. Now, that being said, that kind of didn't work for me in the final battle. And this is why. I don't think Alyssa at the stage she was at the end of the game would have been strong enough to take down her grandfather and Boros when they were combined. I mean, this is literally the power of two subordinates combined into one. I mean, he was able to take multiple magical space lasers and still keep on kicking, actually putting up a decent fight after getting hit by both. And I know the whole point was that her power wasn't enough, so she had to combine her power with her mother's power in order to like gain enough strength to tip the battles in their favor. But here's the thing. I actually think it would have worked better if they just would have had the spirit of Nancy beat her father in a fight. I mean, bear with me here. Think of it as, for those of you who have ever watched the series Tenchi Muyo, I don't know if you ever saw the first movie, but imagine a similar fight in the same vein as Tenchi's mom versus Kane at the end of that movie. I mean, her ability wasn't a bow. Her ability was a literal Kuwabara spirit energy sword. That thing was awesome. And you didn't even get to use it in the game. So if you were going to relegate it to just being shown in a cutscene, fuck, then have the mother do it. I mean, I get the fact that, yeah, she was already aged out of her power. She wasn't able to summon it anymore. That's why it's passed down from mother to daughter. But if you really think about it, it would have been a lot more impactful if she would have just last minute used the last of her life force, because she was imprisoned in that stone, to come back to life and basically destroy, just go ham. Because let's face it, a mother's love is a mother's love. You don't fuck with somebody's kids and think you're going to get away with it. I mean, hell, you could have broken it down to 2 boss battles and not even had it be a cutscene. I mean, first you have Alyssa fight her grandfather in his magical Pope costume, basically have her hit him with a couple of magical space lasers. Oh my, it doesn't work, he's too powerful, he turns into his Dickie Boros form. You could have Alyssa fighting a losing battle where she's unable to hold her ground against Lord Boros, forcing Mama Bear to step in and handle some shit. Summoning the last of her life force in one final last bid effort to take down Boros once and for all. That being said, the ending we got wasn't terrible. I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. I mean, Alyssa basically gets the opportunity to prove that she grew as a character to the point of she realizes that her grandfather is not there anymore. Whoever this is, whoever this monster that he has become is not her grandfather, and that he needed to be stopped. So she just fucking shanked him with that energy sword like a pro and called it quits after that. So in conclusion, I absolutely would suggest this game to other people. I mean, if you're willing to look past the fact that the gameplay is rough, the puzzles are overly easy, the combat is questionable at best, if you're willing to just look past that and embrace the madness, then you will actually have a good time with this game. There is enough good here that it has to be experienced at least once. I am so happy the Clock Tower 3 video is finally done and has gone up. This video was requested so long ago, it actually wasn't even going to be a Den of Frights video until Vince Crow and Jay Shaw had suggested it. I mean, I was just saying they're game capturing some footage in case I wanted to make a Let's Play series out of it when I made a stupid joke about backhanding a ghost like a G with some holy water, and they just lost it. They insisted that turned it into a full-fledged Den of Frights video, so you really only have them to blame for all the tomfoolery you witnessed today. That being said, I've taken up enough of your guys' time. I am going to try and do one more Den of Frights this year. It's going to be Curse Mountain on the Wii. I don't know if you guys ever heard about it. I did not know this game even existed until I stumbled across it in a con. I've been enjoying it for what it is, and I think it'd be a good way to either end out this year or beginning next year. So I hope you guys enjoy it too. Be safe this holiday season, and always remember.
Oh, you know, it's who you're blowing.
What did he say?